There's a lot of activity outside the hospital at the moment. I believe we are going to go back there where there is a guard of honor that is now waiting for the arrival of President Jacob Zuma, to my understanding. This is just outside the main entrance of the Heart Hospital. Add as well, it is a rather unusual sight to see the gates of that Mediclinic hospital open at this time of the day. Of course, the security has been incredibly tight with Nelson Mandela still inside. What you're looking at is the main entrance. The gentleman in red, you can see, it's the South African Navy Marching Band. Just behind them, we have a Royal Guard of Honor. We do understand that President Jacob Zuma is scheduled to arrive. If that is not already his vehicle, I don't believe it is, but he is scheduled to arrive to see Nelson Mandela, and I'm sure as well to wish him a happy birthday on his 95th birthday. And worth remembering as well, it is also the anniversary of Nelson Mandela. And as I speak, there is the President of South Africa, Jacob Zuma, having arrived at the hospital in the past few moments. It was no real surprise we were going to see him there today. He is now walking towards our camera location. To help you understand what it is you're looking at, it's about 100 meters in from where Zuma is now, is the main entrance. The supporters and the well-wishers and the media being kept quite far away from the actual entrance as well. But President Zuma just being given a brief on what the situation is outside of the hospital, and I'm quite sure as well about what is happening inside. It's unclear at the moment if there's going to be some briefing from the president. As yet in the past 6 weeks, there hasn't been a briefing from himself per se outside of the hospital. And there you have the Royal Guard of Honor that have been waiting for Nelson Mandela to arrive as well. Rifles at the ready in what is going to be, I'm sure, a national salute, not only for President Jacob Zuma, but indeed for Nelson Mandela, who is inside that building, just out of camera shot at the moment. Graça Michel, I'm sure, is there as well, not only with her husband on his 95th birthday, but indeed on what is a big day for the couple themselves. Graça Michel and Nelson Mandela celebrating their 15th wedding anniversary today. As we watch President Jacob Zuma walk towards the exit of the Mediclinic Heart Hospital in Pretoria on a very sunny day in Pretoria, a beautiful day in South Africa indeed, as we celebrate Mandela's birthday. I have no doubts in a few moments from now we're going to hear the sounds of the National Guard and the marching band of the South African Army as they salute not only Zuma, but indeed the man that brought South Africa to democracy back in 1994. The national anthem of South Africa being played outside the Mediclinic Heart Hospital where Nelson Mandela is currently being treated, sadly, of course, on his 95th birthday. There you can see just some of what is a massive crowd that are gathering outside. We've just seen the President, Jacob Zuma, and we've also, of course, seen the Minister of Defence, eNCA, arriving at the hospital just a couple of minutes ago. To those gates on the right-hand side, as we look at the President and the Minister as well, paying a visit to Nelson Mandela. I'm sure it is going to be well taken as well by the Mandela family and indeed by Graça Michel as we continue with what I'm sure is a handing over of some sort of support or some sort of tribute to Nelson Mandela from the SA military and also the marching band of the SA Navy. And how many happy birthdays and hip hip hoorays can you fit in? 95 if you're going to be singing for Nelson Mandela today as well. For the moment, we're just going through one or two events that need to be taking place, a protocol, if you will. I'm afraid we can't quite hear exactly what is being said or read to President Zuma from the Defence Minister, but it was rather short and sweet. I'm sure we'll get details on what that is just a little bit later. President Zuma having just arrived, so we do know he hasn't been inside the hospital as yet, but a shake of the hands between the Minister and President Jacob Zuma. It's unclear as to whether or not he is going to be giving any kind of statement as he is now standing outside of the hospital gates. The sounds of the national anthem being supported as well by the cheers of the hundreds of people that have arrived to support not only Nelson Mandela, but indeed that man now walking back into the gate, South Africa's President Jacob Zuma, being accompanied almost arm in arm a moment ago by the Defence Minister, eNCA. President Zuma now meeting with members of the military as well. I can remind you, if you have just joined us, at around 12 away from 11 o'clock, President Zuma having just arrived, so we do know he hasn't gone inside of the hospital yet. He stepped out of his official vehicle straight outside those gates to take in the sights and sounds and indeed the support of all of those who've been gathering outside that hospital for not just today on what is the 95th birthday of Nelson Mandela, but indeed the past few weeks as well. We were unsure if there was going to be a statement of sorts, so I can now confirm that President Zuma had not said anything to the crowd standing outside of the hospital as well. We've been hearing from the presidency, but that would be more Mac Maharaj who is conveying those messages. I imagine with the vehicle not pulling up alongside the president, they are now going to go inside.
News that moves. eNCA.com.